Did everybody survive the great Facebook debacle?
I don't have it, I've never even know.
I didn't
No,
notice until
I didn't
somebody
know.
I've lived perfectly fine.
I didn't know it was up until I read the newspaper.
I wonder if that was. I didn't know. See?
Well, I usually check it on just in curious. I mean, but since I just talked to her the other day. It, as I sang.
Unfortunately, being unaware of computer. No, I don't.
Maybe because you're. I don't use Instagram or any of those.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Brian.
We were going on a camping trip. No, we're under the big voice.
It's coming.
Black Rock. All right, that's close enough, I believe, just like it's 6 o'clock, so now 6 p.m., October 5th, and I'll call to order the October 5th meeting of the Smithville Planning and Zoning Commission. I'm Brian Greenwood, and everyone introduce themselves, starting on my right.
I'm Ed Lee. Yes, that's correct.
I'm Caroline Noya. I'm Nancy Kappenman.
I've already made a mistake because I forgot to turn on my microphone after I had told everybody else to make sure you turn your microphone on and off appropriately. So with that rocky start, we'll get going. The meeting's been called to order. First item of business is discussion and action of minutes from the September 7th, 2021 meeting. Have you all had the opportunity to review the minutes?
Accept minutes as submitted.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. All right, we're off to a little bit better start. The next item agenda is discussion and action on a zone change from SF1, single family dwelling district, to C3, highway commercial. At 206 Bishop, Burleson, Block 36, Lot 1, R15919, property owners Grover and Sue Shea. Do we have anyone who has signed up to speak to this matter?
Not for number 3, no, sir.
I was forwarded one letter. If you all had the opportunity to look at that. And before we close the discussion and take the vote, I'll officially enter that into the record. Mr. Shade, do you have a presentation to make?
I did not. My application says it all. I looked it over. I can't think of anything else I would add to that.
I admire your confidence. Mr. Shade does have is here. If we have any questions. This is a property that's at the intersection. There are commercial properties at the four corners of that intersection currently. Nancy, you're familiar with when the city did its significant rezoning and the history of why some properties along the loop in the first block on the north and the south of the loop had commercial zoning.
Really pushing it with my memory. I believe it was in the late 90s, Jack, 97, 98, that the zoning commission along with the city worked on doing some up-to-date zoning in the city limits. And one of the things that we did was what is now Loop 230 and used to be Highway 71. You're asking me to go pretty far back in time. I can just tell you what the end result was. Jack was there too. He may remember more. When we got to the residential areas on Loop 230 that are kind of past Short Street, there's still residential. Unless there was business already existing there, we just converted that business to a C3. Anyone else, we considered doing all of it, and we considered it, but on this particular side, which was the south side, the neighbor that is across the street, and I can't remember her name, she's deceased, she came back to us and she said,
Nancy, let me excuse you. The summary will be.
well, I'm getting lawyers. She came back to planning and zoning that asked that her residence be made commercial, even though it wasn't. And so we gave in because she was quite adamant about it. It never changed. I mean, it changed to commercial, but there's never been a commercial enterprise there. So there are commercial in four corners. And since that is when the main thoroughfare through Smithville, it just only seemed to be appropriate that most of those things would be commercial, and that would be highway commercial.
Thank you.
That's the history.
Thank you. You can hit your button now.
She's making history.
Are there any questions, concerns?
None for me.
We did have one resident within 200 feet of the property at 206 Bishop Street. And I'll read that letter. It's a short letter, and I'll read it into the record. This is to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it's from James and Catherine Wallace. We, the undersigned, James and Catherine Wallace, are co-owners of the house at 201 Bishop Street in Smithville. We are writing to support the request being made by Grover and Sue Shea to change the zoning designation of 206 Bishop Street from SF1 to C3. We have known the Shades for decades and have every confidence in their judgment. The fact that they will be living next door to the property at 206 ensures the idea that they will have the best interest of the neighbors in mind when they rent or lease the building, which now stands there. We strongly encourage the Commission to approve their request for rezoning. James K. and Catherine Y. Wallace. Just confirm we didn't have anyone else sign up for this. Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
All right. Excuse me. I will make the motion to approve a zone change from SF1 to C3 at 206 Bishop, Block 36, Burleson Edition, pardon me, Block 36, Lot 1, R15919, property owners Grover and Sue Shea.
Have a motion and a second to recommend the City Council a zone change at 201 Bishop Street, 206 Bishop Street, Burleson, Block 36, Lot 1. Property owners Grover and Sue Shea, again from SF1 to Commercial 3. All those in favor, raise their right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Grover, as you know, we just make the recommendation to the City Council. This next City Council meeting that's going to be taken up at is the October 11th meeting here in the chambers.
That's only replats go to the next one. He will attend the November 8th. What's today? October 5th. So he'll come to the November 8th council. Replat goes to the very next one.
You noted that we were making history tonight. The history is I've now made 2 mistakes on a single application. I'll note that in the record also.
And the 11th is a holiday.
Yeah.
So when is the
The
next
18th. I said 8th.
Okay.
Wait.
The next council meeting is the 18th.
No.
So this will go to the November council meeting.
The November council meeting.
It's on the, I'm pretty sure it's on the 8th.
It's
It is on the 8th.
Yeah.
Monday, in this very facility.
Yeah.
And the meeting on the 18th is in the rec center.
That's right. I knew there was one.
2.5 mistakes.
We need a party there first.
It's not on the agenda.
I'll put it on.
Okay, I'll try to regain some form of semblance of
Back to a
order.
decorum.
Next item, discussion and action on the variance for an 8-foot fence with 3 strands of barbed wire at the top of 205 Royston Street, Smithville, Town Site Block 28, Lot 1 through 8, acres 1.6630, R19491, property owner Smithville ISD, agent Zach Harris. Is Mr. Harris here to speak to this application? I'm not going to make you come up here. Whatever. It will get you on camera, I think. Maybe.
He's on there.
All right.
Not much of a presentation, but with the current bus lot located at Southwest 7th Street, Highway 95, and Walton Street, we're going permit with the vehicles, buses, vans, box trucks, suburbans. We tried moving some of our extra vehicles to our jet tech building, which is on Jones Road, behind the high school, behind the baseball field. We had some theft damage done to our vehicles that were parked there, so we really had to put them, back into the lot. And then we looked at the bus lot to try to increase the size of the bus lot. We want to take the back fence out, take up some of the playground that's on at the primary school, Brown Primary. But before we could get to that point, FEMA changed the flood zone from a 500-year floodplain to a 100-year floodplain. So that option is out. So the superintendent asked us to think outside the box. And with property that the school district owns, we thought about the property right there across catty corner from the rec center at the intersection of 95 and the Hudson Road. And so we have a building there. It's our bus barn. So anyhow, so behind that, we are requesting from the plans that I submitted to build an 8-foot fence with the barbed wire on top. Just trying to protect the assets of the taxpayers best way we can. That's all I have. Answer any questions you may have.
That chain link fence?
Yes, sir, chain link fence.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I actually went by there today and got out and walked because I was curious about how close to Gasly Creek
Yes, ma'am.
and what kind of erosion was there, because I know on the other side of the bridge, there's been quite a bit of erosion. So are you just going to take it right up to where the property starts going down like this?
No, ma'am. Just up to where the trees are growing out of the creek. So we're not going. I didn't measure how far away we are from the edge of the creek, but yes, ma'am, I'm not going down.
Okay, and how many buses do you think you will be able to keep in there?
Well, we had a bus parked over there before, over a weekend, that's because it wasn't running and we needed to do some work on it, didn't have room inside of the bus barn, and it got damaged. But it got us an idea of how many would fit. I mean, I don't have a perfect count, but it would.
Just an estimate is fine.
Well, we're going to park vans, Suburbans, box trucks, trailers, and extracurricular buses there. I'm hoping we can put 7 or 8 buses, 3 or 4 vans, box trucks, 2 box trucks, and a few trailers that we own, probably 3 trailers. That's what we're hoping.
Okay, that's great.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Excuse me, did you sign up to speak? No, I did not. Okay. Well.
I just went.
Oh.
Excuse me.
I'll let you ask your question in just a moment. Sure. Any other questions? I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Who are your immediate adjacent neighbors?
Immediate adjacent would be Edward D. Jones, Zimmer Hansels, the meat market, and then across Upton is the sewage plant, rec center's catty corner, and across 95 with the Rogers Automotive is across the street.
Okay. Will this be inside the property line or along the property line?
Inside the property line.
approximately how far?
I'm not, 100% where the property line is located. I will, have to get a survey. But we were gonna line the fence up with the building. So the building is 235 feet long. And the fence will come right off the side and go 115 feet towards the creek. So I'm assuming the building's within the property. And,
Let's really hope so.
yes, exactly.
Jack, is that within the property?
He hasn't applied for the permit yet, so we wouldn't have that. This is just to ask for the fence.
We don't have a survey, we would need to, before we'll issue the permit, we'll need to know where the property lines are.
I can just take a guess that the property line runs or whatever, from FM 2571. And I'm sure with a setback from that and Highway 95 is probably correct, and that we're not intruding on the highway department, or which would be on both sides there. But we'd have to get a survey.
Well, I'm asking these questions about adjacent property because of the way the ordinance reads and where barbed wire fences are permitted, which are almost exclusive, well, without a variance, is only along alleyways. And so I want to get clarity on just exactly what variance we're asking, that you're asking for. Commercial properties adjacent to other commercial properties, adjacent to zoned SF1, for example, actually have requirements for masonry or noise attenuating fences. I want to make sure where it is this fence is going to be located and who the immediate adjacent neighbors are and their zoning, what zoning they are. And I'm struggling with that a little bit. I've got a copy of a small plat here. If you could come up here and just show me exactly on the small plat.
To the south of the location is the sewage plant.
Mine is the red color on it.
So it's just west of the wastewater.
No, correct.
The sewage plant is south of this location.
It's all a block 28.
It's 28 for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Block 28, yeah. That's block 28. That's the, and I'm looking, this is Royston. That's,
Next door to Independence Park.
yeah. And that's do you recall what year that bus barn was built? Oh, sorry. Do you recall what year that bus barn was built?
Well, we did go through an inventory itemization this week. I want to say it might be 1947.
No, that one wasn't.
No. But I don't know. I had to no, maybe not 47.
No, I don't think they had metal buildings that looked like they
Well,
were 1947.
We did remodel it after we purchased it. Pour concrete inside. I wasn't there at the time, but that's what I was told. I'm not sure what year it was built.
Do we know if any of the other buildings in that, very commercial block, are they all adhering to the setbacks?
There isn't setback with fence.
Pardon?
There's no setback with fences you can put on your property line.
Well, but that's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about some setbacks from Highway 95 and Upton Road. Aren't we?
Yes, ma'am. Were you asking me a question?
No, I'm just kidding.
I've located on the map the area that we're discussing.
It's cold. Yeah.
So, there are the train tracks that go through town, this one backdrop going east, that's on Highway 95. That's the sewage plant right there. And this is the building on the lots. There's a building right there. Look 230. Right here. So the sewage plant, rec center owns that, Rogers Automotive. Wash is right in here, Mr. Jones, the Old Market, the other houses, Richard Brothers. If you get on Loop 230,
Oh, I know where it is.
you know where it is. You get on Loop 230, you go to the line
Where it
at
is.
95. If you went straight through, it would be the building on the left.
I know where the structure is, I'm trying to determine exactly where your fence is planning to go.
Okay.
And who the immediate neighbors are, so that one of my fellow commissioners can formulate the motion.
This is the map I submitted. Highway 95, Upton Road, 2571. Here's the road that enters, here's the 95, 230, Edward Jones is right here. Rogers Automotive is right here. There's a rectangle building sitting right there, and the fence would go behind.
No, I'm going to permit Mr. Rogers to ask any questions or make any comments that he wanted to.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. When I look at that fence line that you got right
Yes,
there.
sir.
Where are you at? Here's your shop, right? This is 95, 2571. This is that, right? You're gonna come off, would be the southeast corner, southwest corner, and go straight back to the creek, and come back down. Okay, you got Highway 2570, this is my question, folks. You got Highway 2571. You got Highway 95. Intersection, no stoplight. You got a defensive, school education program, which we're fixing to put a fence around the backside of it. All the kids come down Highway 95 from the south or from the north, and they turn in at the corner of that building on the south side of 95. It creates a very, very hazardous intersection in the mornings when the kids are being dropped off from school. The buses are going to be coming in and out of there. They won't go to the stoplight because they want to drop their kids off so they can go through the walk-through door on the south end of that building. Now, what's that going to create when all these buses that are going to be coming in and out of there and people running in their kids? What are we going to do about that intersection? And then dropping the kids off at the corners. That's going to create a big, big problem at that intersection. I just need to know what's going to happen and how we're going to handle that. Because what he's doing now, when they drive in and they drop the kids off, they drive around the backside of his building to the intersection where the stoplight is at, and then go through the stoplight. So they're circling around the building, and he's fixing to put a fence up around the backside of the building so you can't circle around the backside of the building.
So they drive through the property right now. They drive through the property right now.
That's correct. They're driving right through the property on the backside where he's gonna put his two fences. So you're not gonna be able to drive back there behind the building anymore. You're gonna have to drive parallel with Highway 95 to get to this intersection over here if you turn to the left from south on 95 to come into this building. Does that make sense to everybody? I can surely show you what I'm talking about. I've been dealing for 20 some odd years at that intersection every morning during the school time. Every morning. And DOT will not do anything with a stoplight or anything. It's very dangerous. You have the railroad tracks, crossings blocked between the railroad, because of the railroad. You have cars backed up all the way across the river bridge going out. And you still have people trying to drop their kids off where they're trying to turn in. And I'll show you exactly where they're trying to turn them out.
Can I add something to it?
Yes, whatever.
So the two gates there are gonna be open. And
So that doesn't eliminate the people coming in and out.
Well, they're still
That's the-
going, they're still
that's
gonna
the
do the
problem.
same, they're still gonna do the same.
Well, I understand that, but that's the problem.
We're not gonna change anything that we're currently doing.
Okay, I'm gonna take back control of the discussion. I appreciate the information that you have brought to our
I think
attention.
we have that.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
have,
we got that.
They come in right here.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You just wanna be safety oriented, you guys. Too much traffic.
Okay, I think you had something that you wanted to add in response or,
We're not gonna change how we're dropping off or allowing the cars that come through there any different than what they're doing now. With the gates that are added on the fence on the plan, that'll be open during the time. So it's not gonna change the current situation that is there.
so then both these gates at both ends in the back, the 20-foot gates,
Yes, ma'am.
a bus can get through a 20-foot gate. So
Yes.
I'm assuming that a vehicle could also.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they drop the kid? Will they be dropping the kids off? Well, is it the school bus that's dropping the kids off?
No, ma'am. The parents and their personal cars drive
Because they're
in.
having a class in that building?
In the south end of the building, Tiger, alternate program that they have, and the district alternative education program is housed there. And they currently drive in that intersection, and drop off on the south end of the building.
Approximately how many students are in that, those classes?
30.
At the maximum, we have 12 spots for, Tiger Academy and up to 20 for DAC.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well with your mask.
That's fine. 12 for Tiger Academy, that's the number of spots available. Not all of them are used. And DAP is up to 20 spots. But as I said, they're not all used either.
20, the most students that would be there would be, and the school doesn't drop them there.
No, we do not.
The parents are responsible for doing it, so it's all-day courses.
Yes,
They're
ma'am.
there for the entire day.
I believe, with the students in the Tiger Academy are allowed to drive themselves there, and some do, and they park in the back as well.
Okay. Well, I understand your safety concerns, Steve, but this is also school property.
Oh, I don't have,
You know, but I understand your concerns. But I don't see that there's a way that we can force people to go down to the stoplight unless the city and the school district together can come up with a way to solve that problem. Back to you, sir.
okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, sir.
No, I didn't ask myself a variety of questions.
Yes, sir.
My understanding you're intending to use the property for buses, parking, vans, just as you explained, correct?
Yes.
You would like to have a security fence around it. You would like that to be an 8-foot fence with razor or barbed wire. If the variance wasn't granted, would the school still be using the property for this new use? And would they put up a smaller fence?
It's possible. Or we may.
These aren't trick questions, there's not.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know if we would or if we wouldn't. With the vandalism we've had with a 6-foot fence, not, but it didn't have, you know, the extra bump wire on top. We had a 6-foot fence, you know, we had a 6-foot fence at the vet tech building where vehicles were, you know, also damaged and vandalized. And so, we may have to look at other possible spots in the city, because all the land that the school owns is in the city. But we're just trying to create the old crowd that we have at the current bus stop.
Understand?
Yeah, we're just trying to think outside the box.
No, I'm not being critical, I'm just trying to get some information about whether the city.
We would, I mean, I'd have to go back to the higher up folks and ask them if they would, like a 6-foot fence. But, you know, we could build a 6-foot fence that had the ball wire on top. But that might not be, and we may have to ask for a variance for that and go a different route. I'm not sure what direction we would go. Just have to continue to think outside the box.
Understand, thank you.
So,
Yes.
so this fence would just basically be for when you have your vehicles stored back there after operating hours to help prevent vandalism. You're not, basically, the flow of traffic with the kid drop off and such is not going to change from what it currently is right now. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's not gonna change.
Okay, so that hasn't changed. You're just asking for the security part for the taller fence and the barbed wire
Yes, ma'am.
for the security of your vehicle. Okay, thank you.
Yes, and our thoughts are to add lights nighttime, and we talked about adding cameras if we receive this. The extra buses, so we have 17 routes, bus routes in the district. We have 31 buses. The extras are for EC, extracurricular events, and at the bus breakdown, an extra bus for the route to van. We have 11 Suburbans and vans that we use, 2 box trucks, 3 trailers. So it's just overcrowding our space. The drivers have to double park. But the good thing is, if you're the first one back in the evening, you park on the back row. If you're the last one back, you park on the front row, because in the morning, you're going to be the first one to go. And so they have to make sure that they all park correctly. And the first buses leave, and, you know, they leave on their own schedule, and the buses on the back row are fine, you know, after everybody hitting the front pulls out.
So the objective is to maximize the assets of the school and create as much safety or protection for those assets as you can.
And for the taxpayers, that's correct.
So the people come from both directions on here, right? Is there a way to direct it one way so they're coming out to the light?
That is possible as well. He is correct in saying, you know, with traffic flow that's through there.
Yeah.
You know, there is an issue, but it alleviates, I guess, with them being able to pull in on the south end and exit out on the north end to the red light. Possible we could keep that gate closed, maybe force them to go to the light. Only open the gate on the north end, possibly. Maybe turn around inside if we have the route. I mean, I think we could probably try to create that. I mean, there's all kind of possibilities, maybe to close that in off, possibly if we could, to help with the traffic flow.
Maybe it deals with an existing problem as opposed to creating another one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have one other comment to make. I understand Steve Rogers' concern. I've been in that traffic, you know it. But I don't know that fencing this in would change that pattern. If, for example, there is a train coming through, everything's backed up over the bridge. And the other way it's backed up, probably to 535. That's the first place you can get on to go. So,
I've got a fun story if you want to hear it about trains.
okay, but just a minute, let me finish because I'm old and I'll probably forget what I was going to say. Thank you. I don't mean to be rude, but I I really think this would be a smart move because as a taxpayer, we have got to get the use of the facilities that all of our taxing entities own, and this is the school district. I don't know where there is, you have not actually said where there could be an alternate place done. This place is, if you do work on some of the buses there for storage is ideal. I do think it needs to be at least 8 foot with the razor, barbed wire, I'm in a razor, barbed wire, okay. Because there has been vandalism throughout the town, not just in the business areas. That's just my feeling right now. But I do think perhaps you could, and of course, our city manager just walked out. I was going to say, perhaps it's time for the school board and the school district, the leaders to get together. And I know, I see him going on, to see if they can't work out some traffic patterns in this particular area. Unfortunately, you would have to work with the Union Pacific too, and I don't know how that's going. But that's all I have to say.
Steve?
No, I recognize the speakers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Rogers, I'm gonna limit your conversation to a short rebuttal.
I just want to say that's a great idea, Zach, and I think that's wonderful. My concern is the fact that we just have a traffic issue and we all need to try to figure out how we're going to fix that. That's all. I think that's a great idea because we are limited to the bus parking. That is taxpayer dollars behind there. I think it's a wonderful idea. Let's just figure out how to fix the traffic. That's all.
Right, thank you for the comment.
See, maybe the school board and the
I'll
city
call for a motion. I'm sorry, one clarification.
Yes, sir.
The 8-foot fence, is that 8 foot and then a barbed wire strand above that for a total of higher than 8 feet?
Yes, sir.
How much higher?
I would say it wouldn't exceed 10 foot for sure, but I'm gonna guess around 9'6", 9'8".
If a motion is made to grant the variance, we need to be specific.
Yes, sir. Jack, can you?
I mean, I'm not sure how you want it, but I mean, you could, I think you could say we're having an 8-foot chain link fence with 3 strands of barbed wire on the top.
To make it 10 foot.
It would make it somewhere around 10.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's closer, like you said, I think it's gonna be closer to 9.5, because it's usually about 18 inches above the top of the strand is what you're.
Will it be safe to say not to exceed 10 feet?
Correct.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the variance for an 8-foot fence, not to exceed 10 foot, with 3 strands of barbed wire at the top, at 205 Royston, Smithville, town site, lot 28, lot 128, acres 1.6630, form 19451, property owner Smithville ISD, agent Zach Harris. With the following findings. The variance will not be contrary to the public interest, and there are special conditions affecting the applicant's property, and because of the special conditions, literal enforcement of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship, and the variance observes the spirit of the ordinance, and substantial justice is done by granting the variance.
I will second that.
We'll make a clarification. You said 205 Royston. Is it 205 or 201?
205.
Okay. All right. I have a motion and a second for to recommend the city council the granting of a variance, a fence variance to an 8-foot chain link fence with 3 strands of barbed wire, total not to exceed 10 feet. 205 Royston. All those in favor, raise their right hand. Any opposed? None opposed. Motion passes. We will make the recommendation, which I think we have determined now will be at the November 8th city council meeting. Appreciate your time. Appreciate the comments very much. Next item on the agenda, discussion and action on a replat to combine 3 lots into one and zone change all to CF Community Facilities for 400, 402, and 404 Fawcett Street, Smithville, Texas, 78957, Smithville Townsite, Block 11, lots 2, 3, and 4, R19142, 19139, and 19136. Property owner, City of Smithville, agent, City Manager, Robert Campbell. Is Mr. Campbell in the audience?
Bueller, Ferris, Bueller, yes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Commissioners. I am the agent for the City of Smithville requesting this replat of 3 lots into one, and also requesting a zone change from SF1 on 2 of the lots to CF on the total aggregate lot. The property, as you know, is the old tax office, 404 Fawcett, which you are familiar. This property was conveyed in the interlocal agreement from Bastrop County to the City of Smithville on July 7, 2017. It must be used for city purposes. If it's not, it will revert back to the county. The planned intention for this particular property is to house our Smithville Workforce Training Center, to give vocational training to anyone who wants to take it for HVAC, plumbing, electricity, and other vocations. You do have someone who wishes to speak, by the way. Are there any questions that you have of me before the citizens speak?
Thank you. We have someone that wants to speak on this matter.
Larry Espinosa.
Yeah, most of it was answered, by Mr. Campbell. But my concern was, I think it's gonna be a 30 by 30, is that correct? What is the building gonna be? I know it's.
We don't know yet, actually, we're still playing with it.
But I spoke to someone that told me that was gonna be in charge of the project, that's why. I didn't come here blind.
No, that's fine. Yes, we have a concept drawing that we're working on, but it's subject to change depending upon what goes where and when.
Okay. I was told some of it might go to the River Bend Park.
You are
Some of the
correct.
training.
Let me get back on this. Some people in the audience here.
Yes, Mr. Espinosa, the plan is to again, house various vocations at this particular site. Before we actually build or construct out that site, I do have some concept drawings. I don't want to get too deep into it because this is way down the road. Right now, I'm just asking to consolidate all the lots into one plat and rezone community facilities. What it's going to be and when it's going to be is still to be determined. Okay, but yes, to answer your question, there's a 30 by 30 building, possibly 30 by 40 building that will be erected on that site.
Correct. And that's, I have nothing against anything being built for the good of Smithville. It's just that my family's been on there, I've been in that corner for 58 years since I was a kid. My family's been there almost 70, goes back that far. So I just wanted to make sure that there was something good for the city of Smithville and not used for other things.
Yes, sir. I think those that are in the know, you being one of them, this is definitely something, this is definitely something that's going to be good for the community.
Yes.
And educating people in vocations like HVAC.
Yeah, not everybody's going to be an area, go to school.
Okay.
No, but not everybody's going to go to college. We need vocational.
I think it's a wonderful program, and there'll be more to come on that program as we progress.
Yes.
But for now, it's the P&Z's objective to either deny or grant the request to consolidate the land into one plat and then change the zoning from SF1 and C1 to community facilities.
Well, I will improve the change. I will not go against it.
Sorry, Mr. Espinosa, you don't have a vote. We've heard,
Well, yes,
we've heard your audio very much.
I can deny it. It says on that paper I just signed, either approve or deny.
Even Aggies know what they can vote on and what they
I'm
can't.
an Aggie fan. Too bad, but anyhow.
It's hard to be an Aggie fan the last couple of weekends.
I know it.
I think Mr. Burns might have a comment on that.
Yeah, I just spoke to Mr. Focus. I see him every morning.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, he did. He's my classmate on.
I'll make a motion on the replat of 3 lots into one and a zone change from SF1 to CF Community Facilities for the 400, 200, and 404 Fawcett Street, 19139 and 19136. Property owner, City of Smithville, agent, city manager, Robert Campbell.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to recommend the city council for the replat of the 3 lots into one and a zone change to CF. All those in favor, raise their right hand. The opposed? And opposed passes 4-0. Mr. Tamlin, you do know the next time you need to show up.
No, can you please remind me about that? I'm not confused. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was our last item. Before we adjourn, there's been a recent change. Legislature's been busy on a number of things, but one of the things that they have passed is an amendment to section 211.009, the authority of the Board of Adjustment, which effectively we sit as that, and there's some changes in the considerations for the granting of the variance. I'm going to pass this around to you. Lee, it's not been an issue that we had to address up to this point, and some direction from the city attorney would be appreciated on this matter. If you'll just take a look at that and educate yourselves on that matter. I have nothing else on the agenda, or nothing else. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? None opposed. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
It's starting.
Okay, we'll find it.
Did you come to get you?